So I'd like to thank you all very much for coming tonight. It looks like I'm the last presenter on the list, so I appreciate your time staying here for the last few hours, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, so I'm just going to be brief and explain to you one of the purposes of this event. My seminar is called Jobs, Careers, and Vocations. A lot of people don't understand exactly what the difference is. They can read the words in the dictionary online, but they don't know how it actually applies. Most of you, when you're 15, 16, your parents tell you go get a job. You want spending money, you want to go buy a CD or video game or clothes or hang out with your friends or what have you not. So you go out and get a job. And then you go told, then you finish high school, you go to CJET. Then you go to CJET, then you go to university. And people tell you at university, the reason why you go to university is so you can get a better paying job. Because if you don't go to university, you're going to be stuck working at Tim Hortons, IGA, what have you not, and collect minimum wage. So the only real way for you to achieve financial success is through a job and if you go to university. That sentence is not entirely applicable. See, jobs are basically a mean to the end. You know, you work, you get a paycheck, you go home. That's pretty much about it. You know, jobs themselves, they take up your time. Sometimes it's work that you don't particularly like doing, but you do it anyhow. It always involves working for someone else, so you're always at someone else's schedule, someone else's whims. You have fixed times when you have to be there, you have fixed job tasks, you have to work with a whole bunch of people. Sometimes it's great if you like your coworkers, but if you don't like your coworkers, it really makes the day a hell of a lot harder. So the thing with jobs is that when you go to university and you're finishing university and you say, I need a job, or you look reading the paper how Target's closing and then you lout 1,700 jobs, or a pulp and paper manufacturing company's gone bankrupt, they're closing out, there's like 4,000 jobs lost. And everyone's talking to you about jobs, about jobs, about jobs. You go put in your job applications, there's 1,000 applicants. It's very tough to find a job nowadays. Jobs aren't so rampant and so available. The point of you going to university is not so you can get a job. The point of the university is so you can take an educational experience and use the experience that you have from your job to advance into either a career or a vocation. It all depends on what you like. Jobs will give you an opportunity to put pocket money, to put cash in your pocket while you're going to school, and it gives you a trial and error experience. Like you go work at Sears, I don't really like retail, so I'm going to go work at Tim Hortons. I don't really like working in the food service industry, so I'm going to work at a bank. Customer service is not so bad, but I'm not really good with counting money. I'm going to go work at some other company, IBM or Apple or what have you not, because I like tech and I'm really good with tech. When you get to that point of deciding this is what I particularly like to do, that's when your education becomes a focal point. And with the combination of your expertise that you've learned from your jobs and your educational experience, you can advance to either a career or a vocation. And this is very important because jobs come and go. Jobs never last, companies close, stuff like that. Most importantly, as you get older, jobs get more tiresome. They get more boring, they get more frustrating. Job is great when you're a teenager, but when you're 40 years old, you'll find that a job is a waste of your life. It really is. Careers themselves are just manifestations of a job. You start off with a career, you're working in a field of endeavor that you are passionate about. You know, when you're a career, there are goals to be maintained. When you have working at Tim Hortons, your goal is to work to finish your shift and get the heck out of there. When you have a career, you have your own goals, you have drive. There's like, okay, I'm going to work my way up this company. It could be for reasons like I make $100,000 salary. It could be for prestige purposes, like I like this career title, you know, Senior Vice President of Financial Planning or what have you not. It sounds a lot better than bank teller on your personal characteristics. It makes everyone around you respect you, but most importantly, a career yourself could be found is way more fulfilling than what you would find at a job. So that's why it's important for you to work a bunch of jobs when you're in your teens and 20s to find which kind of system or economic system or which kind of corporation or what you want to do with your life that you feel comfortable about. A career is actually a representation of your values. See, if you don't really care about environment, but you have a BCom, going to go work for TD Bank and hoping to have a career at TD Bank may not be the best place for you because TD Banks, it's a corporation, it's a separate entity. Their goal is to promote environment. You may want to go apply to RBC because it cares more about health or children's health or what have you not, something that you most personally believe in. So when you structure your life and you're like, where am I going to go with my career because I'm a financial services planner and I just want to work with a company, inside a company that allows me to grow my career, makes me fulfill my values, and makes me happy doing what I'm doing. When you have a job, you don't exactly feel this way. You can like your job, but it only like your job for a small period of time. As you get older, and when, you know, as we all get older, we start losing our patience a bit more. We have a lot less tolerance. And then most importantly, when you're stuck in a job, it's always harder when you see people half your age starting in the same position than you are. And when you lose a job, then you start another job, then you got to start at the bottom. It's even more of an insult. Because, geez, 20 years ago I was pouring coffee, then I worked my way up to Tim Hortons, now I have no more jobs, so I got to go get a job at Dunkin' Donuts pouring coffee, or Second Cup pouring coffee. You don't feel good about yourself. If you have a career, that is something that you can carry with you from one stop to another. There's no going backwards. With careers, they're only going forwards. But careers themselves are a place of employment nevertheless. Sometimes careers stall. Sometimes people don't find that their career is exactly what they're asking for in life, or doesn't fulfill their needs that they think. But along those lines, then you can shift subtly. Like your financial services planner, you can change to mortgages. You can change to lending investments, or what have you not. Something that you particularly like. Going from Sears to Tim Hortons to McDonald's to, you know, whatever, working at the mowing lawns. You know, there's really no fulfillment, it's just a means to the end. If you don't particularly like working for somebody else and you want to be self-employed, the macroscopic version of that is called vocation. That one is where you're completely in charge of yourself. You have no bosses, you have no time schedule, you have no work meetings, you don't have to do anything. But at the same time, if you don't do anything, you don't get money. At least with a career, you can at least guarantee some sort of salary based off your performance and quota goals, like you have sales goals or performance goals or what have you not. With a vocation, it's the simplest form of self-employment. You're doing something you're passionate about. You cannot learn what you're passionate about until you've actually done it. And when you do it, you'd be like, wow, I really like this stuff. This is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So when you're finishing university, and I'll just be very, very short about this, you have to think about yourself, not as much as like, where am I going to get my next job, or how do I get a job, or there's no job. You have to look at yourself in the mirror, not go to employers or anything like that, and look, what do I want to do with myself? You should come down with a plan of exactly how you want to live your life. Do you want to get married? Do you want to have kids? If you have a vocation and you're not making a lot of money and you have financial or family responsibilities, perhaps a vocation won't be the best goal for you. A career would be great. If you don't really have these liabilities, I'm like myself, a bit of a free spirit. I like doing what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it. I'm responsible for everything that gets done, and I enjoy that. Therefore, I take on the terms of a vocation, which is basically, I run a nonprofit company. We provide health education. So here we have a health career symposium that we've assembled for all of you people today. Like, no one's giving me a paycheck or anything for this. I do this because I like doing this. I like coming to the schools. I like educating people. And I like informing people about health, how to improve their health, how to better their health, how to direct themselves to improved health, be it financially, personally, or professionally. That's my vocation. That's who I am, what I do. That came out when I was in my mid-30s. You cannot get to that stage until you grow through practice, expertise. You learn from your mistakes, and as you get older, you feel out with what you exactly love and what you love doing, and then you go do it. If you choose to go for a career after university, or if you choose to go to a vocation after university, the choice is up to you. But one of the problems, and you'll find a lot of colleagues in your course loads have the exact same problem, is that they're looking for a job. And they're still thinking along the lines of, I'm going to apply for a Tim Hortons, or I'm going to apply for my bank teller. And a lot of people that go out, finish university, don't always necessarily work in their field, because they're coming in with the job mentality. If you have a career or vocation, you have no problem doing this. If we had the exercise science students here, we would have simply explained to them, it's like, if you're an athletic therapist, it's really great if you work with kids in sports, referee a football game or a local student soccer game, because that adds a lot more to your credibility as an athletic therapist than working at Tim Hortons pouring coffee. I'm an athletic therapist, would you like a double-double with that? Doesn't make much sense. It's the same thing with the bankers and for the BCom students. If you're going to go into a bank but don't really like working with money, it's not exactly the most logical profession for you. You have to decide if you like working with people, if you have to decide you can do things independently. It all depends on each individual's characteristic skills. It's always important to sit down after you finish university, come up with a plan on how you like to see yourself in your life, doing what you want to do. You judge that based off your experience. So if you've been working at a Tim Hortons job for 5 years while you're going to university, you know, it kind of limits your options of what you can do after university, because it's a big wide world out there, as Nick had mentioned before. There's just so many possibilities, you can't cover them all. So what you do in your life is that you do a whole bunch of jobs, and then once you finish university, you drop this I need a job mentality. Employers aren't really listening to people who want jobs. There's thousands of people applying for jobs. Employers, human resources, they're looking for people who are interested in a career. People who are dedicated to doing the field that they're doing. Your educational experience only amounts for a small part. It's an important part, but nevertheless it's a small part of what the macroscopic purpose of your being here is to continue on with what you're doing in life, live life to your fullest, enjoy yourself, and you know, we all need money. It all depends on what you want to do, career or vocation, but you really should drop that I need a job mentality. That worked when you're 16. When you finish university, figure out what you want to do with yourself in life, and I'm kind of repeating myself, draw up the plan, stick to the plan. If it deviates, which it tends to do here and there, you just roll with it, you see where it goes, but don't ever let it lose your values. That's the most important thing, because your values, what you stand for, what you represent, are what's going to carry you within your career or your vocation. That's where people are going to remember you from. Your actions, not what you say you're going to do, but what you've actually done. In your 20s, it's what you're going to do. In your 30s, it's what you're actually doing. And in your 40s, it's what you've already done. And that's basically your ruler of measurement. When people decide if they want to bring you aboard as a career opportunity within their organization, or if they want to pay you for services because it's your vocation. But the job stuff, let the high school dropouts, let the people who just recently immigrated to Canada, let them all fight for those jobs. You go to university to elevate yourself to the next level. Megan.
Sorry, I have to jump in here for a little bit. The sports and contradict a little bit what you're saying. I work as a career advisor here at Concordia, and I think there's still value in those jobs in terms of getting students experience, customer service experience, which is all going to contribute to the skill sets that the employers are looking for. I think what you're getting at in terms of is finding your passion, and in terms of that career, that long-term goal. But I don't think, the jobs, yes, there's still, for some people, the jobs in the
isn't important.
Or it's their career, because maybe for things like a level of abilities, or for, they're transitioning and they need to survive. So I think we still need to add value to those jobs.
Oh, absolutely. The jobs are a very important place in society.
But it's the idea.
You need people for these realms of employment, because even the major corporations, Apple is nothing if there's not someone to sell you the iPhone at the iStore. Tim Hortons may be a big multinational corporation, but it doesn't mean nothing if there's not someone there to pour the coffee. But a lot of people, in my estimation, it's the next step after that. As I mentioned, it's very important for you to work a whole lot of facets of jobs when you're younger, in your teens and your 20s. But the point of university is to transcend that job mentality and elevate yourself to either the career or vocational mentality, which brings in a higher level of income. Jobs come, jobs go. But if you're a financial planner or you're an athletic therapist, that is something that you carry with for the rest of your life. Working at Tim Hortons, that's a job position on a CV, and it's relevant to your experience, and it does add on to overall your personality, your characteristics. People who never worked for a day in their life really aren't as reliable in time frame that people who have worked jobs, because when you have a job, you get trained. You have to be here at 9. You have you learn to live in a fixed schedule, and it's just one of those things that you just kind of see with people who have low responsibilities. They don't react that well. With a job is a first step into learning responsibilities. Be it with, if you're handling food, you got to be really careful. If you're handling cash, you got to handle the cash and the way you deal with the customers and all that stuff. It's all important traits. But the primary purpose of university is to take in my estimation, is to take your life, your financial life, your personal life and your professional life and take it to the next level and transcend from jobs to career. Not a career isn't for everyone, and a vocation is definitely not for everyone. But the point, for generally speaking, for university students is they go because they want to make more money than what they're currently making now that they get at that level of employment. So what I was just basically saying is that, I guess we can agree to disagree on this one, is that the career is just the next step, is a product from the job, but it's a combination of educational as well, which is...
Using your passion also, that you want to do.
Yeah.
I also agree with you, because like my first job ever, I started working as a receptionist, and I was so nervous, and I didn't know how to have like socially, I didn't know how to speak with people, you know, just on a regular basis with customers, and that adds to your character. So,
and employers, once you graduate from university, are going to be looking also at that skill set. Your interpersonal skills, your communication skills, your ability, professionalism, exactly. Your ability to perform. It all
adds up, but you didn't go to university to be a receptionist for the rest of your life. That's the point. It's a stepping stone to better things.
The two of you are speaking something that's contradictory. It's are you still learning what you want to learn on the job, or you are just staying there?
Me personally?
No, I mean something between the difference between a career or a dead-end job is if you are just content with that paycheck, you know you're not learning anything, and you still remain there,
20, 30 years doing the same thing.
then you need to rethink.
Then you need to think, but the point of going to university is with that educational component, with the experience, you elevate that mentality from I have a job, because there's always, like, you're obviously very, very smart, but there's some people, he's looking at you, you're very smart.
Must be the wife.
No. But there's some people that have no ambition in life, and they're pretty much contented working at the Tim Hortons. They're not the people that generally attend a university. People who go to university are here to improve their lot in life, generally speaking. They come to get knowledge, they come to get experience, and they come to learn stuff so they can transcend their economic barriers or socio-cultural barriers to the next level. Because, you know, without a university diploma nowadays, it's very hard to find a good paying job. But there are plenty of careers out there. Because if you're really good at something, really skilled at something, and you have the education for something, there's no shortage of people that are in need of people like you who do all that stuff. People just giving job CVs, putting on, applying online, filling out the grids and waiting for a response. They get a stack of those every day.
And not only that, some jobs, let's say you're working a pharmacy and you are just filling those pill bottles.
Yeah.
There are actually companies working to build automated
and you'll be replaced by a machine.
Feel that
And with a lot of things, hey, maybe Tim Hortons one day will be self-serve. You just put your thing like you do for the soda at McDonald's, and you just get your coffee that way. And then you don't even need the coffee pourers anymore.
You, let's say, ask you, okay, what do you want? And you say the brand new, those are Starbucks jargons.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And who invents all these computer softwares?
Engineers.
And what do engineers go to? University.
Yeah.
And that's how it works.
But university is a privilege. Not everybody gets here. There's
No.
a lot of things that get in the way of people getting here.
Especially in the US.
Yeah, and so not taking it for granted and taking advantage of it because the opportunities are there. And I think, the talk about career and finding your passion, your drive, your road, I think that's, what this whole evening has been about, is contributing to the careers of health, science, business practitioners, and I think it's a really great idea what you're doing, and this whole idea of education and providing people with these opportunities. I wish there was more people that took advantage of this.
We'll work on that next year.
But in the meantime, I think I just want to thank you for coming.
Oh no, I thank you all for coming here as well, and I thank Megan and Concordia for having me be here. I thank Anne and Ian, and Jessica and Nick and all those people because they came in on their own time to come and talk to you. And we appreciate everything you've done, and I hope you at least came out with something besides a book and a ball and all that stuff. So at least for your time being, and I thank you very much for coming. I wish you well for the rest of your studies. Your final midterms are next week, and finals are in 7 weeks. 4 weeks, 7 weeks is finals.
Almost halfway.
Oh, what's that? I've been there, done that too. I graduated of exercise science 2009. So, give you all a round of applause for coming. Thank you very much. And I hope to see you at the next Health Career Symposium. Enjoy your day.
And for students, you know, JMSB, you guys have CMS. Because you're coming in on my attendance sheet from JMSB, because I work for the other part of the University, Arts and Science.
Was it?
It was advertised for both sides.
Thank you very much for coming. I really do
Was
appreciate
advertised
it.
Across
to
the
them?
So enjoy your rest of your evening. Safe ride home.
No, we've got one room that's more. We're going to have to strategize. I'm not sure what's got in the way other than snow. But, and Justin, right? You know, if you've got some ideas for science, biology graduate students that you want, you know, in terms of career development stuff that you guys think might be interesting to.
Well, I know it didn't really get the attention. Usually we receive.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, the first step is to reach them.
Yeah. Which
But I mean, at least I'll be president until I guess the end of the summer.
Are you a student union
I'm
president?
the Biology Graduate Student Association's president.
But I'd love to talk to you about how we can sort of support you guys a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. Because I know like a lot of people, you know, me included, you get really sort of relatively far down this road, and if you want to sort of switch gears a bit, you feel a bit lost.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to a lot of other students in the same position as me, or even higher, you know, PhD students who are sort of have a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So yeah,
We'll be in touch.
yeah. Do you make them?
The contact information's on the event program.
Yeah,
I know at JSB,
Oh, yes,
events.
Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Justin. I never caught your name, sir.
Facebook groups.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming. I really do appreciate it.
No problem.